Today on the Topic Show, Anheuser-Busch horse sniffing beer tweet backfires. Vivek on New York's lawsuit cost. Trump statement says no more foreign aid goes viral. Patrick Bet-David tweet on Trump's lawsuit cost goes viral as well. Ford CEO says he will be carefully thinking about the new plant site due to the recent UAW strike. Nike to cut 2% of their workforce. And Bayer cuts their dividends by 95% after the Roundup disaster. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, you have Ford CEO Jim Farley saying he will, quote, think carefully about the new location due to the union strike recently. Now, this as the union gained a record contract for more money than you could possibly fathom to, interestingly enough, make the most unreliable vehicles in the industry. Perhaps it's just coincidence that my little, Hondas and Toyotas are just infinitely more reliable and actually in some cases it's a lower cost and they're not assembled by unionized workers. Purely a coincidence, I'm sure. Now, specifically, this comes to us thanks to a writer over on Fortune by the name of Tom Krishner. And Ford CEO also said that after last year's strike with the UAW, their, quote, our relationship has changed, unquote. Which absolutely makes sense. It was the largest, most expensive contract ever. And keep in mind that they're already getting paid some of the largest or the biggest wages in the industry. And it's just not sustainable in my opinion. Now, it's also hilarious that at the same time they're making a record amount of money. Half the business blunders in the show, or not half, not insignificant amount of the business blunders of the show come from Ford recalls and Ford having issues with assembly and unions attempting to assemble vehicles. You have some where you're paying what, $145,000 for a truck and it'll have mismatching seats or mismatching headlights, which is fascinating to see the cultural difference between union versus non-union labor. It's just fascinating to see the stark contrast. Now, they note that the decision will be highly profitable. Jim Farley decided to build all of its highly profitable pickup trucks in the USA, and that has about the most union members, about 57,000, which is, again, the highest. Now, they also know that it came in at higher cost than competitors who came through bankruptcy and built trucks plants in Mexico, he said, but Ford thought it was the quite right kind of cost, unquote. Oh no. It's one of those things where it's, again, not all, but many times it's just never enough for a lot of these unions. They won't happen until the company is bankrupt. Now, Jim Farley also said, quote, our reliance on the UAW turned out to be where we were the first truck plant to be, sorry. Again, I sometimes cannot enunciate or properly speak properly. Some might debate more than others. But if you click the subscribe button, I have a theory that it may help with my speaking ineptitudes. Granted, there are many of them. However, I can't help but notice a trend where when I started the podcast about a year ago, very few subscribers and a lot more speaking ineptitudes. And the more people click that button, the greater my speaking has improved. Now, granted, some might argue it's just a modicum of improvement, but nevertheless, an improvement nevertheless. So again, I'll attempt to quote Jim Farley, CEO of Ford Motor Company. And he said, quote, our reliance on the UAW turned out to be we were the first truck plant to be shut down, unquote. Really, our relationship has changed. It's been a watershed moment for the company. Does this have a business impact? Yes, unquote. Now it looks like factory workers had increases of 33% in the race of that contract. Jeez Louise, $42 an hour to put wheels on a truck. Jeez Louise. Now they also know that high manufacturing costs are among the reasons why Ford has a $7 billion annual cost disadvantage to competitors. Jeez Louise, $7 billion cost. Wow. Jim Farley also said he expects to take out $2 billion worth of costs this year. Said that he thinks custom union manufacturing will, quote, fully offset the cost of the union contract, or that they're hoping. Let's see here. So it'll be interesting to see. And of course, the unions are gangs. Unions are attempting to strike yet again. So it'll be interesting to see, again, the highest cost of labor, yet the lowest results in quality. Is this sustainable? And keep in mind, Ford is the only company of the big three that didn't go bankrupt, and they barely made it. And yeah, they're trying to go up against Tesla and other companies that are much more technologically advanced. They have a lower cost of labor. They increase their efficiencies using robotics. So if I were to look at the future of automotive in the U.S., you're going to ramp up production of robotics, and then you're also going to outsource to other countries that are more business friendly, like Mexico. So it'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments. It'll be fascinating to hear, of course, if you're a union member or you're a manager over at one of the big three. Truth be told, I've had family on both sides of the equation, so it'll be interesting to see what you have to say. But in terms of the outlook for Ford, I can't but think, I mean, the union is just kneecapping them time and time again. At what point will enough be enough? I mean, it's always the most profitable plants that the unions strike first. At the end of the day, what's the upside of this relationship? It seems to increase the cost of goods sold. Consumers are, fascinatingly enough, depending on where I poll, people on LinkedIn, kind of 50-50 split between supporting unions versus not supporting them. Other platforms are more favorable, less favorable. Facebook seems to be more favorable to unions. But, I mean, you're increasing the cost of goods sold to the consumer with a lower quality product. At what point, and again, it's also the thing where a lot of the money that union gives also goes to politicians. So, really, at the end of the day, I can't but think it's just going to be a huge thorn in Ford's pathway forward. But I think we'll see the future. They've had a long 10-year track record of succeeding. I think Jim Farley will most likely have the plant somewhere that is much more business friendly. Something that, again, you don't have to pay someone $50 an hour just to put a tire on a car. But as always, let me know. It'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you can click that button. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, or sharing it is also a great way to give me some additional feedback and help the channel grow. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.